Hello Pisces, welcome back to Pisces Room 369. That's the @ handle. It's actually just Pisces Room. Thank you so much for being part of my new channel. I have an original channel called Pisces Tarot. You can check that at Pisces Tarot. Alright, so Pisces, I have a really interesting reading for you today because I feel like this is about direction. Not necessarily where you're physically going, but where you're looking for the answer. I started with 3 oracle cards, then I pulled only 2 tarot cards. They were underneath them, but now they're above them because the light is kind of shining weirdly. I actually thought I needed more, but as soon as those 2 tarot cards came out, I thought, no, that's it. Because those 2 cards almost feel like the 2 ends of the entire reading. The first oracle card is You Are Your Purpose, number 25, which reduces to 7. Okay. So immediately I'm thinking about the Chariot, direction, movement, where are you going, what are you following? And this card is fascinating visually because there appears to be several figures layered inside each other. Now I'm going to pull it forward. I hope you can see it. There's a smaller figure, then there's this larger blue figure, then another figure behind that. And each one seems to carry this light differently. Yeah. Okay. The smallest figure has a tiny spark. The blue figure has a much brighter orb right in the center. And then you have this larger form behind it, almost as if this light is moving to the crown or the third eye chakra. And the deeper parts are moving outward through these wing shapes. The literal message of this card is basically that you're here to learn about yourself. The more you understand your own spirit, your own nature, your own inner world, the less you have to go searching outside yourself for some enormous answer. Okay? To the question, what is my purpose? That's what this says right here. Okay? Because eventually you become it. You become the thing you were looking for. And I think that light in the center of the card is the most important one. The one right here in the blue form. That's the one we're going to be talking about today. Because underneath this card I have the above this card, I have the 6 of Wands. And the 6 of Wands is very, very different. The woman on this card has her back towards us, her arms are thrown up in the air, and there's this green wreath beside her. It has that classic 6 of Wands feeling of recognition. Hello, I'm here. Look at me. Notice me. See what I've done. And there's nothing wrong with recognition. There's nothing wrong with wanting people to see you or appreciate you. But the 6 of Wands can sometimes tip into needing the outside world to tell you who you are. That's where this becomes interesting, because the first card says the light begins inside you, and the 6 of Wands can become a situation where you're waiting for the light to come back at you from everybody else. You're waiting for somebody else to shine it on you. And then we move to the middle oracle card, which I think is the key to this whole reading. Heal the past and fix tomorrow, number 8. Okay. And visually this card is gorgeous. It's almost entirely green. Then there's this dark circular area in the middle with a figure inside it. Do you see that? Arms raised. Around this figure are these smaller spirit like beings. They're strands and vines moving through the entire image. You see them on each side? Yeah. And at first glance, those strands almost look like they could be restraining the person. One of them is actually wrapped around the wrist. I think you can see it right here. See that? Yeah. But the longer I looked at the card, the less I felt that these little figures were the ones doing the restraining. They actually look like they're trying to help remove it. It reminds me of when I was younger and you would walk through the bottom of a river and it'd be all that slimy green river weed around your feet. You take one step and suddenly it would be wrapped around your ankle and you're trying to kick it off and it wraps around the other foot and it's disgusting and slippery and almost impossible to get rid of. That's what this image feels like to me. Old things have wrapped around you. Old experiences, old beliefs, old hurt, old ways that you learn to protect yourself. And these helpers are almost trying to clear the muck away so you can move again. One of them seems to be reaching toward the light. Another looks like it's tugging at one of the strands. And then there's this little figure towards the bottom with its arms raised. You see that? Right here. Okay, they're both kind of have their arms raised. And this one looks like it's tugging at this thing that seems to be going for the light. Do you see that? Yeah. So, and this is where the repeated posture of this becomes really interesting, because that little figure is almost the exact same posture as the woman in the Six of Wands. Look, with the arms up. You see that? Yeah. But the meaning is completely different. The Six of Wands is almost saying, look at me. And the little figure feels like saying, here, over here. Look over here, right? This is where you need to look. Same posture, completely different meaning. That's perspective. That's how two things can look almost identical and mean something completely different depending on what is actually happening underneath them. And the message of this card talks about healing the past so you can move into the future without dragging every painful thing behind you. There comes a point where something that happened to you cannot continue determining where you get your light. Because I think that's really what this reading is talking about. Where do you get your light? Where do you get your sense of value? Where do you get your sense of self? Where do you get the answers when you don't know what to do next? And then we have the last oracle card. You have the power to make yourself better, like this. And it's 3. Okay? And this image is almost a tree person. Too many 3s in this reading. I'm a French person. I have a hard time with my H's. It has roots moving down into the ground, branches moving upward, and all these beautiful spirals. Look at these spirals. They're gorgeous. But when you really look at the spirals, most of them are curling back inward. And when the branches move outward, they turn back towards center. And right in the middle of this enormous glowing is this enormous glowing, I don't know, heart, right? Or cup, or something. And honestly, I don't think that changes the message at all. If anything, it strengthens it, because I'm thinking it's just a heart space, right? Love, emotional, renewal, compassion, something being filled from within. And this card talks about healing energy becomes available when you begin participating in your own healing, when you decide to repair something in yourself or in your life. Help begins to meet you there. But where is the light now? Right in the center again. We started with that little spark, okay, in the first card. Then we had the bright orb inside the blue figure, okay, right here in the middle. Then we went through this middle card where all the old entanglements are being cleared away. Now the light is sitting, like the light was in the side being reached for, right? And it came home in this rooted figure. I love that. And then above that card we have the Queen of Swords. And I kept looking at this Queen of Swords thinking, why does she feel wrong here? Because she's intelligent, she's discerning, she thinks clearly, she knows how to make decisions. But then I noticed something at the bottom right-hand corner of her seat. A cup. Her cup. Her heart is behind bars. Her Ace of Cup. this little cage cup tucked underneath her, and suddenly understood why she bothered me. Because she represents the opposite extreme of the Six of Wands. The Six of Wands can go too far outward. Look at me, see me, tell me I'm doing well, tell me I matter. The Queen of Swords can go too far inward into the mind. I don't need anybody. I'll figure it out myself. I'll analyze it. I'll control it. I'll protect the heart by putting it somewhere the heart cannot interfere or get hurt. And I think this reading is saying neither one is the answer. You can lose yourself by constantly searching outside yourself for validation. And you can lose yourself by retreating entirely into your mind and locking your heart away. The answer seems to be movement between the two. In and out, out and in, expression and reflection, relationship and solitude, being seen and knowing yourself even when nobody is looking. Because there's something else I noticed. That green wreath on the Six of Wands matches the green healing card. On the Six of Wands, the green is outside the person. It's attached to recognition, victory, attention. When the entire middle card becomes green while the old restraints are being removed. And finally, the last oracle card, the green, becomes the tree itself. Right? If you look outside, it's right there, right? Roots, branches, life, something that belongs to you. So the green moves from something outside you to something surrounding and healing you to something you actually become. And even the posture changes, meaning as we move through the reading, the Six of Wands has her arms up looking outward. The Helper has his arms up trying to draw attention toward what needs healing. And the final card has these two upper branches raised almost like arms. Look on each side right here. See these? These on each side. I've got my fingers on them. But they're curling inward again. See that? Yeah. That feels like the whole reading. You can reach outward. You're supposed to reach outward. You're supposed to live and connect and create and let people see you. But you need to know how to come back. Because if you forget where the light originated, you can spend your entire life asking the world to hand you something that began inside you. And sometimes the reason we do that is because something hurt us. Maybe we weren't seen, maybe we weren't valued, maybe somebody made us feel like who we were wasn't enough. And then attention can start to feel like love. But attention and love are not the same thing. Attention comes towards you. Love can live inside you and move through you. And when you have the inner source, recognition feels good without becoming necessary for survival. You can enjoy applause without needing applause to tell you whether you're worthy. And you can use your mind without making your mind the jailer of your heart. That's what I think Pisces is being asked to look at here. Where are you looking for your light? Because if you've been looking everywhere outside yourself for the thing that finally makes you feel whole, you may have been searching in the wrong direction. Clear away what wrapped around you. Heal what thought you that somebody else had to prove your worth. Let the mind help you without letting it imprison the heart. And go back towards that center. Because you're not trying to find your purpose somewhere out there. You are becoming it. And once you remember where the light comes from, you can carry it anywhere. Thank you so much, Pisces, for being part of this reading. I appreciate you so very much. I do readings, so if you're interested, it will be in the first comment below. I offer smaller readings, longer readings, anything anyone can afford. Take care of yourself. I will see you on Wednesday. Bye for now.